Disclaimer, before this video starts, that there are partial spoilers for Iron Lung, and also, I usually don't do these kind of videos, so, if this is pretty solid, you like hearing me talk about whether or not I like this movie or not, then, I guess say something, because I wouldn't mind making videos like this. And yeah, I hope you like it. Okay, I don't get this. So today, Sunday, I went to go watch Iron Lung, and it was really good. I think it was probably one of the best horror movies I've ever watched in my entire life. But people very much disagree. Like, the audience obviously thought it was good, but the critics, and that was the same with a lot of these movies, the critics are always against, like, the actual people and what they like. And it seems to be that way for a lot of movies now. It doesn't seem like we can agree on things. It seems like the people themselves are completely separate from these critics. And what I'm trying to say is that this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. I also went to go watch Fantastic Four. Now that this doesn't seem to correlate, but that movie had close to a 5-star rating, but I don't think it was that good. I don't think that it should be that good in terms of rating. And I think the reviews for Iron Lung, as I'm seeing right here, 60% on Tomato Meter and a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. For Fantastic Four, 6.8. 0.2% on IMDb better, but 20% better on Rotten Tomatoes and 86%. That movie was not that good. I don't see why anyone liked the Fantastic Four movie. The story was okay. The writing was very basic. It was good, but it was not as good as Iron Lung. All of the reviews for, like, all of these approved critics for this movie, the main reasoning they say that Iron Lung is bad is because it was boring. That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm like in my head, I'm thinking, I think we've lost our attention spans because of the amount of short form content we've been watching and all this stupid stuff. It's like, it's not that bad of a movie just because it's long and boring to some people. And I don't even see the boring part. That was probably one of the most interesting game adaptation movies I've ever seen, because I know what Iron Lung is, kind of barely. I remember watching it. They took a lot of different twists and they stuck with them, and they did really, really well in that movie. And coming from someone I was not expecting a good movie from, that is huge. And it seems like this movie that they've put out, or this movie that quote-unquote Markiplier put out, but it wasn't entirely him, they're just, like, dogging on it. And I'm almost, like, 99% positive that the reason that Marvel got a better rating, or not Marvel, but may as well be Marvel, the reason why Iron Lung got a worse rating than Fantastic Four First Steps is because there's a bias here. It's not because the movie was actually really, really good, or it was, like, blowing away things. It was because there's this bias behind these writers. These people are not telling the full truth. And I just want to add in that the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, when I watched it, it was probably one of the most boring movies I've ever watched. Like, I think, like, some of the parts, like, the characters were relatively interesting, but they felt so one-dimensional. They felt so lame in that movie. Like, I didn't actually connect with these characters because I don't care about them. Like, I don't even, half of this stuff is so silly to me. It like, the way that this movie is so simple and so basic, and somehow it got 20% more on Rotten Tomatoes and not a crazy amount more on IMDb. But I honestly think at the very least Tomato Meter's biased, and that's not really surprising. This movie reminds me of, like, Alien Isolation situation, where it was like IGN, they were, like, really bad at Alien Isolation, and they're like, this game's AI is really stupid, and I don't know, I'm not very good at the game, so 6 out of 10. And that is what this reminds me of. I don't think these people, I guess, are mentally correct enough to actually like this movie. Like, they cannot take a movie and put it in another sense where they actually have to, like, use their brain to formulate what's happening in the story. Like, this movie, I was thinking through the way through. And maybe that's why it's good for me. Like, maybe the writing was good that it made me use my brain. I don't see why they didn't mention, like, wow, this writing's really solid. They did a lot of cool, like, shots, and I was like, wow, that shot looks like this, so I'm gonna think that they're gonna go after this thing, and they do. Like, it's very straightforward. These things happen in order in the story, and it's just so clever. Like, it feels so good to watch that movie, to me. And I guess that is opinionated. That would be a bias based on my perspective of maybe I'm not as dumb as other people. And that's also sounds like a lot of bragging, but it doesn't seem like the majority of the critics here are like taking what's good in the movie. They seem like they're bashing it down based off these very simple, not so crazy things. And when I point out, like, oh, boring isn't a very good reason, it really isn't, because this movie is slow. And the point is that this is sort of a spoiler, sort of not. Markiplier is going insane in the movie. He gets progressively more crazy. I think the slowness plays into the fact that he's stuck in a submarine under an ocean, or in an ocean, and he's got nobody there. He's like completely stranded. There's nobody. Like, there's a comm thing. There's a little comm radio thing, but that's not really people. That's not really talking to people. It's not the same. He's completely stranded, alone, under a bunch of blood, and he has to fight for his life, and it's pretty good. The boringness, I can't say is present when I watch this movie. They keep enough interesting things in the plot, so when I keep watching it, it's not him sitting there like, oh, I'm in my chair and I'm just doing this and doing this. It's more like things happen along the way, and it keeps you interested as you go. But not only that, it develops the story as it goes, like a normal movie should when it has a good writing. Or when it has good writing, holy moly, I'm stumbling. It's a good movie. You don't see a lot of really good movies nowadays. And now that we have a good movie in our hands, it's being tossed out the window because we're focusing on things that are so simple. We're focusing on really, really simple movies with really, really simple plots that are not good. At least in my eyes, I don't think a really, really simple movie is that great. There are movies that are simple and they're really good, and that doesn't make them bad. I'm not saying that simpleness is a bad thing in movies, but I think when you can't be compelled enough to try to dig in deep into this movie that has a lot of stuff going on in its writing, that makes you more of an idiot, in my eyes. If you can't try to pull something good out of this movie and say some good stuff, or try to connect with the movie, or like think a little bit as the plot's going on, I don't think you're a true movie critic. I don't think you're a person who actually likes movies. I think you're just someone who's simple. Very simple person. And you're watching this movie for whatever reason. Probably to get paid. If you can't try to advertise this movie correctly in a truthful manner, you shouldn't be reviewing movies for a living. You shouldn't be getting paid for this kind of stuff. Because you're just defaming a movie that is definitely better than a lot of other movies now. Like, I watched a lot of movies in this past couple years, and I've seen a lot of bad movies, and this is a really, really good movie for its time period. And I just don't see why it got this bad. I'm really sorry to the people who actually don't like this movie and they're not a critic, but I think, in all honesty, I don't think critics are very fair when they rate things, and I cannot say that I would be like, oh wow, I really love critics, they're really good, and they help us in choosing what movies we want to watch, because they don't. I wanted to go watch the FNAF 2 movie, and instead I went to go watch Zootopia 2, and it wasn't bad, but I think movie critics play a huge role in what movies we choose, so we shouldn't be advertising that this movie's bad if it really is not that bad. Like, it was really good in my eyes. I don't think you should ever listen to movie critics for any other reason. I think you should try to listen to the audience score more than you should the actual movie critics, because they don't know entirely what they're writing about all the time. You cannot trust every person, because they will not always tell you the truth. You can almost guarantee that not every movie critic is not going to tell you, or is going to tell you what actually is good about a movie. You can't, because they're just people. They're just normal people like you, except they write about movies almost entirely for a living, so they're more entitled to find something good in a movie that would get them paid more. Like, if Marvel had enough money to produce all these movies, of course they could bribe someone into saying this movie's good, even though it's not that great. Like, I don't know, Morbius didn't have 100%. Why? Why did it have 100%? And people notoriously clown on that. They were like, wow, this is not that good of a movie. This is actually really bad. It's silly. I'm sorry.